Hello, welcome to you. Welcome to this Genius Report live stream. This is our
Hello,
second live
everybody.
stream. Yes, sorry, Anka. It's your turn.
Hello. Hi, Nicole. Hi, everyone out there.
Hi,
I've got
Anka.
5 viewers at the moment.
Yeah, it's our second live stream. We have prepared a few new inspirations for you today. So we hope you're comfortable and have about 45 minutes to spare for your genius. If you want, you can drop us a comment where you're watching from. So in the meantime, maybe let's start with a little introduction, right?
Yes, agreed.
Okay. So I'm Nicole. I'm part of the team that is behind 64 Keys Media, who is also the publisher of the Genius Report. I work with the Genius Report as a trainer and coach and also in recruiting. And what I like about my job is that when you're working with this kind of a tool, that you can bring relaxation back into the lives of people. So the feeling of being true to oneself, because in our world, we often have the feeling that we just can't be ourselves if we want to be successful, in our career, and that we need to become something that we aren't. And in our work as a genius coach or trainer, we take a fresh perspective because we are saying it's good if you are who you are. And that usually brings a lot of relaxation back into people. And I enjoy this a lot. Anka, what do you like about your job?
Well, I'm a business coach and a trainer, and I've been dealing with the Genius Report for about 7 years now. And I love working with people. I like to understand what makes them tick, what drives them forward, what motivates them, what is their goal in life, and how they deal with feelings and emotions. And the Genius Report helps me to integrate it in my work and also get to the point quicker. And as I'm using it for the business topics. So that is very, very helpful. And it also helped me to connect the dots in my own biography, and it gave me peace of mind and helped me embrace myself. And this is something that I'm trying to pass on to my clients, as you said, Nicole, before, to make them feel at ease and comfortable with being themselves.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. So maybe let's talk a little bit about what we are going to do today. We will give you a little bit of an overview about the Genius Report and the background of the Genius Report. We will talk about the changes in the paradigm and the time shift. There is a time shift ahead. We will talk about that because it's like the stage for our lives. And we will discuss the Genius Report of famous singer Adele. She's an excellent example, I think. And then we will talk about our experiences in coaching and training. But before we start to discuss all of this, I would like to bring you into the right kind of mood for the Genius Report. And I would like to show you a little pre-recorded video. Let us take you to the beautiful city of Philadelphia. Here at the city center, we want to show you an amazing public piece of art. This sculpture, it is called Freedom Sculpture, is from Zenos Frudakis, a well-known sculptor. And it shows us the process of struggling to break free. It is about finding our own creative freedom. And as you can see, it has 4 figures, but in reality, it is showing us the becoming of one individual creative being. At the beginning, you see a man that fits very well into his form, into a norm, you could say, and fitting in is comfortable. But there comes a time where he can no longer move and it is becoming too painful, and he starts to try to break free. And of course, it is a struggle. It's not that easy. But there is this desire within him, the need to finally get out, to be able to breathe again and move again. And finally, he's out, he's standing on his own feet, he's able to fully stretch out, breathe again, he's looking into the sun, being thankful, and he starts to dance and feel himself again. Becoming ourselves is a lot like that. It requires a lot of time, effort, we have to deal with fears. Maybe we have to leave relationships behind. And we have to let go of the person who we thought we were. This sculpture invites you to step into it and look at yourself in this process. Look at what is holding you back. And also what inspires you to break free and become simply unique like this man. Yes, this is my favorite sculpture.
No surprise. It is mine too. I always loved it from the moment I first saw it when you presented the Genius Report. I think you've been using it as the picture of it
Yes.
quite in the beginning already.
Yeah.
And I always identified with it. I thought it was great, and it's like someone is telling my story with this sculpture, and it's very impressive.
Yeah. What's so interesting is that you can see that it's a struggle to become visible as you are. And that this requires also a lot of courage and strength and things like that. So it's not so easy. On one hand, it seems to be easy, just be yourself. And on the other hand, you have to struggle maybe against yourself. Yeah.
Exactly. Not only the struggle against the things that surround you and determine you, but also a struggle within yourself. It's both.
If you want, you can drop us a line. There's a space for comments here in this Facebook stream, and we can discuss your comments if you like. So, yes, my trip to Philadelphia and the Freedom Sculpture. Let's move on maybe to what's behind the Genius Report. So I'm changing to our little slideshow. For those of you who are new, what is the Genius Report? Anka, would you like to?
I'll take on from here. The Genius Report, well, there is 2 versions of it. So what I want to mention first. So there is the compact version, which is a 1-page excerpt of what we think are the most important traits of that can be represented. And there is also a comprehensive one that has many more chapters and is more detailed. So today we will have a look a little bit at the more comprehensive one, as we started last time with the compact version. Yeah. So it's a birthday-based analysis of your talents and potentials and your personality, and it helps to unfold authentic opportunity. It gives you the opportunity to unfold authentically. And what it means is your genius is something that is easy, unique, it's individual, it's something that is easy to achieve and where you don't have to put a lot of effort to it. And these are many times talents that you don't perceive as such because they come so naturally to you. And that is the most intriguing thing, I guess, to find out what makes you special, maybe things that you are not aware of.
Yeah, Yeah, excellent. But
Yeah.
of course,
So
what's the point
yeah,
in a time like this?
exactly. What's the point in finding your individuality, you might ask, because everyone is facing difficulties these days, especially here in Europe. We have a war in Europe going on. We have our life daily expenses are keep soaring, and we have gas expenses and electricity that are rising quite a bit. So what's the point in doing that? And I think Nicole has an answer to you why it
Yeah.
is so important to follow your individuality.
Yes, because of course, some people have the feeling they have to struggle for their existential survival at the moment when it comes to paying bills and things like that. And this is totally understandable that you think you cannot afford, self-development and things like that. But maybe exactly these turmoils and these turbulent times need a different answer this time. So I already talked about this in the live stream 2 weeks ago in more detail, but it's very important and someone new here, so I would like to look at it again briefly. We are working with birth dates in the Genius Report, as you know, and time is the most important information factor for the Genius Report. We don't use anything else. So we are analyzing time and time qualities. And what you can do with this kind of knowledge that is behind the Genius Report, that you can calculate and analyze global cycles and epochs on a larger scale. And what we know is that we are very close to a huge turning point in time. It's a changing of the epochs like it hasn't happened for hundreds of years, and no one has ever encountered a paradigm shift like this before. So it's a paradigm shift ahead, and we can already feel how the clock is ticking. And this might sound a little bit mystical to you, so I want to make it a little bit clearer. When we are analyzing these time paradigms in our society since 1615, we find 4 major themes that have been defining the way the world works for us. And these 4 major themes will be replaced by new paradigms. So this is a process that takes many years. It's not like one day and everything shifts, but it already started and it will take many more years for this to be finished. But it's a huge turning point. So the 4 most important themes were work, communities, logical planning into the future, and growth. Work and wage labor, we cannot imagine a life without work and getting paid for this work. And people who do not have a job, in fact, do not have a status in our society. So work and wage labor is the pillar of our society, you could say. And the same is true for communities, because communities are our guarantee for survival. We support each other through our communal systems, through our families, through our tribes, and everybody belongs to different communities. And very often we are dependent on the support of these communities. And this will change a little bit. And what will also change is the logical planning into the future. The world was, to a certain degree, plannable and predictable. We are all used to planning and reaching our goals in the future, but this is already changing. So our planning is disrupted all the time. Since the pandemic, we are getting used to all of these disruptions. And this is because this age of planning is coming to an end. And the 4th important thing was growth. So growth as the motor for our prosperity, population growth, economic growth, financial growth, more and more of everything. Our interest systems are based on growth. If there is no growth, everything changes. So our world is still built on these paradigms, but they already started to change. And what's coming? So in 2027, these paradigms will be replaced, and as already said, it's a process. So what will be much more important than work is our spirit. The spirit and the attitude of how we look at the world will be the most important thing for us, more important than having work. And we will no longer work just for getting money, but because it promises emotional fulfillment and it's good for our spirit, is something which we feel we have to do. And individuality will be more important than communities. That doesn't mean that communities, will diminish or your family will not be important for you anymore. But individuality, being true to yourself, will be more important than communal support. Communal support alone will not be our guarantee for survival anymore. And instead of planning for the future, it will be very important to be present in the now to adapt to sudden changes in our world. We will have to use our presence and intuition to deal with all these disruptions. And instead of growth, it will be about new beginnings. The end of growth is something that is very hard for us to imagine. But if growth is not the paradigm anymore, there are also opportunities for change. So the future will be about ambitious new beginnings. And the power will lie within those who dare to try something new. And also those who will be able to manage the chaos that will arise, of course. So why am I telling you this? Because we have not learned to deal with a new world like this. A world where individuality, self-love, self-responsibility are the most important things for survival and success. We have not learned it. We didn't learn to stand on our own feet. Like our freedom sculpture, the Genius Report is a tool that can help you to take steps into a new direction. Because what we feel is that the world needs you exactly as you are, because we are all one. We are all living in a single organism, you could say, and everyone is needed exactly the way one is. So this is the background of the Genius Report. So I'm going to change to this view here again. Do you have any questions or comments on this?
Nicole has said a little bit more about this background in our last video. So if you want to watch that in our last webinar, you're more than welcome. It is online, and you will find some more insights on various topics that we are not going into depth this time. We are focusing then later on.
Yeah. Also, of course, in the Genius Report training, we can discuss this a little bit further, maybe. Because many coaching clients, isn't it, Anka, they have exactly these feelings, they want to develop their individuality. But on the other hand, they don't know if that is the right thing to do. So, of course it is. We are trying to give you this kind of feeling that, yeah, it's a good time to take step into this direction. We want to
exactly. We're encouraging you to go to take these steps and make you strong and make you understand that it's the right time to do it, and that the energy, so to speak, that is there is supporting you in taking these steps. Yeah.
When I look back at my life, and also when I look back at the stories and lives of coaches or training clients I have the feeling that every step into this direction of self-responsibility, self-love, and things like that does pay off. It just does. It's not that people, they kind of lose something. It's rather they win a lot from what I can experience from my coaching experience. It might be that your life, turns out in a different way than you planned, but usually people feel more comfortable, more secure, and it's just good for their life and for their joy. in their
Exactly.
careers.
So the Genius Report is really like embedded in everything that surrounds us. It's embedded in our time frequency. It's embedded in our social life. It's embedded everywhere, and it just helps us to lighten up maybe a few corners that have been more in a shadow, and would be great to be seen.
Yeah. Olivia, thank you for your comment. Olivia says that the importance of spirit already shows up in our current culture. Yes, you can see it everywhere.
Yeah.
We want to support companies. We want to, it's about sustainability, fair wages. Yes, thank you. Exactly. We already can feel how things are changing. And exactly. The holistic personality model.
Yeah. Exactly. So I'm only going to say a few words about it. You can find more information in our last video. But as we mentioned before, it is important to see and recognize that in order to experience a human being in its entirety, not only matter needs to be considered, but also the energy. So not only the genetic disposition that is static and determined, and our socialization, that is our cognitive conditioning, but we also need to look at the energetic disposition of a person and the energetic conditioning, that's the interpersonal dynamics when two energy fields meet. So that's the part that the Genius Report covers and makes us, or creates this holistic personality model, as we call it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. And another important thing we have to discuss is, of course, the thing around birth data. So where do we get this information from? So what we do is that we open up a new level of information. Usually this level of information is not considered when you are assessing people, like in personality analysis, where people take questionnaires, or when they are sitting in assessment centers and things like that. So we are using another level of information, and the basic assumption behind the Genius Report and the system behind it is that our solar system is like an information field. And of course, you can calculate the forces in this information field for every moment in time. So each human being has a force field too. So you could say that the force field of a human being is the same like the forces in the solar system at the time of birth of the being. So it's a whole system, and you are a representation of the time quality at that specific moment. This is what our assumption is, to make it very, very easy, the assumption behind. And the background that is behind is not astrology. You could say it's astrology, but it's not. It's something very different. It's based on a knowledge that is called the Human Design Matrix. I will not go into much detail here, but in fact, if you want to know more about it, you are invited to go to 64keys.com. There you can find a human design software and a lot of background information. And this is the system that is behind the Genius Report. So often I'm getting asked the question, so what's the difference between human design and the Genius Report? So to answer this, the Genius Report is made for your career. It's focused on your business identity, you could say. It's not made for private coaching and things like that. And it only focuses on your strength and only on those that are business related. And of course, the Genius Report is or at least we are trying to be easy to understand so that a person can download the Genius report for herself and then read it and get an idea about their own strength and energies without having to have a human design education. So it's kept short and simple. So that's the major difference, right? To get an idea about the Genius report, let's look at the sample Genius report. So your idea was to look at Adele, Anka.
Yes, I find her quite an inspiring person. She's flamboyant. She's got a big heart. Apart from the lovely voice, obviously for which she's very famous. So I picked her to have a look at her and discuss her genius. And so what we see here is the genius force field of Adele, obviously. So what you can see in the force field is the white area, or what we call the force field is the white area that extends between the orange dots and the blue dots. And in some parts it is wider, in some parts it's more narrow. And there are two modes that we can describe here, and that's the effectual and the perceptual mode. And the effectual mode is represented by the orange dots, and it's reaching far out to the outside of the force field. And in those aspects, what do they mean? So in any of these aspects, it means that you have an extroverted, you have a special talent that shows there that you want to bring out, that is seen by others, that has an effect on others. And the perceptual mode, the blue dots, that means that you can perceive those qualities or aspects in another person quite easily. And that's the aspects where you can get close to the person and feel that person. That is, the qualities and the talents that they have there. It's a very adaptable and flexible aspect. And that's the aspects where we learn a lot because everything can happen there. We're not preconditioned, so to speak. Yeah. Right.
And what we can see in Adele's force field, it's obvious. You can see the line going from the emotions to the expression. So it's her genius to express her emotions. It's easy like that. And I think she has a voice like that where you're, when she's putting all her emotion in her expression, you get these kind of goosebumps. It's so nice.
Exactly. It's not only in her voice, it's also when you listen to her in interviews. She's got this strong Cockney accent and she doesn't really care. She just speaks out what she thinks, and it is full-hearted. Yeah.
Maybe let's look at the second page of her report, because here it's even more specific. We can see that she has a lot of initiation power and impact, and that's great for an artist, isn't it?
I think that's brilliant, and that's her role in life. That's what she has to do, to have an impact through her mere presence as well. And additionally, with her specific talents, that singing voice. Yeah. She's quite an appearance. I mean, she's lost a lot of weight now, but before that, she was really an appearance also by stature. But now she's still an appearance. That hasn't changed. The character remains the same. So she's an independent person. She likes to initiate things, and she likes to be efficient and have an impact with the things she does. She likes to make everything perfect and to perfect her skills, and that of course raises also expectations within her within the people that surround her, or in this case, also her audience. And she's quite willing to take that on and to live up to the expectations, but only if the expectations suit her and her talents, and if it's really her direction that she wants to go. And you've mentioned the open communication before. That's the line between that leads from the emotion to the expression. So, if she's in a mood, if she's in the right mood, she can express her emotions very smoothly, and she can find, you can find this aspect in a lot of artists, singers, writers. There's different kinds of way to express one's emotions. It doesn't have to be singing only, but quite a lot of them have that. Yeah.
But if you read these first three specific talents and skills, it's clear that a woman like this needs a stage, and to bring her talent out and to be able to show her emotions. And, in a coaching, if a person would come with a child like that, I would ask her, where's your stage? Because you want to have an impact, you want to get your emotions out. So a stage is a great thing for a woman like that. It doesn't have to be the literal stage, but a kind of stage where you can just, express yourself and have this impact and get your power out, right?
The interesting thing is that Adele doesn't like the stage. She's so overexcited before that. I mean, I'm sure she likes it in a way when she's there and already started singing, but she is so excited in the beginning that she said she would never do a stage concert, a live concert anymore. But let's see. I don't believe it.
Yeah, but I learned today that she's one of the most famous singers at the moment we have in the world. That's a kind of thing. I don't know how it feels to be that famous, but she has a stage. The world is a stage, right?
Yeah. Well,
and obviously
people have high expectations as well, so she is confronted with that too. She knows that feeling. Yeah.
And obviously, she's very, very successful. And as you can see in her Genius report, there's the sales talent and entrepreneurship. So this is a kind of thing that, it's just part of her to know how to be successful.
Yeah. And to be present and authentic. I mean, on stage, she takes off her shoes in the middle of the concert because they're hurting her, and she keeps laughing at it. And, she doesn't wear makeup when she does home videos. And she's very authentic. And that's also part of her being an initiator. She just doesn't care what others think. She just does what's right for her at that very moment.
And this is exactly one of these skills where I think it's clear that this is a genius. You cannot learn how to be, to have this presence or just be authentic. Either it's your genius and you can count on that and people will love it if it's your genius, or you don't. So it makes no sense to learn to become authentic or something like that. Yeah. I copied out some parts of her Genius report, of her full report. There is her preferred team role. She's an initiator that likes to work independently, effective, result-oriented. And this is quite interesting because people like this can be very impatient when they are in a team. And they really don't like unfocused team processes. And of course, now you could say no one likes unproductive team processes. Yes, that's true. But, people like her, initiates, they cannot stand it. And they are quite impatient with, processes that take a lot of time. And it's so interesting because in her last album, she has a song that's about that. It's called Can I Get It? And she's singing, "Can I get it now? Can I get it now? Can I get it now?" So it's kind of funny, I think. So being alone is something that is very important to her. But on the other hand, in her cooperation profile, you can see that she's also a strong networker. That means in alternating cooperative settings, of course, she can work with different people, and she's good at cooperating in networks. But I think being alone is something that is very important to her. And I found something that was very interesting for me in her perspective on the world. So she is taking things personally. Of course, everyone has a different perspective on the world, and people who are taking things personally, of course, are very vulnerable because they relate everything happening around them to themselves, and they can feel it very strongly. So this is, of course, something that makes her songs so wonderful because there's a lot of vulnerability inside, and she's, like processing all these things in her songs. Yeah. Adele, if you're seeing this, you're perfect the way you are, and please let us know how you feel about this.
She's probably got some hiccup at the moment.
Hiccups,
Talking
probably.
talking so much about her.
So what we wanted to show you was an example of a Genius report, and that you can certainly relate the things that are mentioned there to the person. And in Adele's case, you can clearly see that this is all her genius. So it would be really a pity if she tried to, become somebody else, isn't it?
Mm.
Anka, you have been working in career coaching for such a long time now. How do you use the Genius report? What's the point of using the Genius report in your coaching, or what are your experiences?
I've been working with women who were looking for jobs, and I've been supporting them with their CVs and letter of motivation and everything. And those who were interested, I always offered the free Genius in the beginning, so that they had a little bit of an insight and an idea of what it is about. And when it appealed to them, we went into depth, and I always suggested that they use the descriptions and the qualities and their talents, that they see in their letter of motivation. Obviously not in the same terminology that is there in the Genius report. They had to reformulate it and make it their own in their own language. But they integrated it, and I think that helped them quite a lot in the beginning to really structure the letter of motivation. And I think one of the reasons is the fact that when we write about ourselves, it's always difficult to find words and describe ourselves. So in a business context, you rather talk about the jobs you had and what you've done there, but there's only little room for your personality to show itself, and that helps quite a lot. So this is the way I use it.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it
And
also
something
that
we have. Sorry.
some people who are at the turning point in their life, they are trying to make a decision regarding their jobs or find a new direction in their life?
Exactly. That's the second second point that you can make with the Genius report, not only for CVs, but also to find a new direction, or to have it clearer, or maybe to let you have this inner voice that tells you, oh, I should do this, but there's so many buts around us, so much conditioning around us that we don't hear that voice. And maybe the Genius report helps to have it clearer, and to have this voice come up louder and be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also it's about having joy and satisfaction in your work, isn't it? So
Absolutely.
yeah, I often have
Absolutely.
clients.
Allowing yourself
Yeah.
to have joy. That's,
Yes.
I think, a most important thing, to
Yeah.
allow yourself to have joy, you know.
I often have clients who kind of forgot what it is like to have a job that you really love and where you can feel a lot of joy and satisfaction at the end of the day. So sometimes it's a process, to encourage people to find that again and show them maybe ways how to find that again.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you're also offering trainings?
I'm
And
offering trainings, yeah,
Mhm.
Genius Report trainings and coachings, single coachings, if, of course. Exactly. So my next one, I think it's starting October 5th. I've planned so many ahead that I'm not sure at the moment, but I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
October 5th.
next Wednesday, isn't it?
Yep, exactly. So that's when we get started. And yeah, what you learn in the trainings is obviously you go deeper. We look at, I mean, we go through the entire comprehensive um, comprehensive Genius report, but also learn how to work with the compact version. So to understand and interpret those chapters, and also, you have the exchange with the other people who are participants in the training. We can get examples. You can bring along some examples, not too many, obviously, but some examples maybe of your clients if you're a coach yourself. And I take you through the Genius Report in a very systematic way. And it's there for everybody. You don't have to have any knowledge or pre-knowledge. It's usually a mixed group. Some people have human design background and want to just learn, the genius and be more focused on business. Others are just interested in the genius itself
Mhm.
and have no previous knowledge.
Mhm. So let's talk a little bit about the structure of this Genius Report online training. So there are 4 live training sessions, and you also have a part video training, right? The
There
aspects.
is, exactly. I have the 9 aspects of the genius that I have pre-recorded, because time is flying. Even if we have 4 live sessions, time flies. So I have decided to pre-record them, so people who are taking part in the training program get access to the recordings of the 9 genius aspects.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And once you're in a training, you get access to a Genius Coaches group on Facebook. We formed this group. It's quite new, but we already have many trainers who are working with the Genius Report. So it's about exchanging coaching ideas and experiences and things like that, discussing reports. And also, you get a lot of downloads, all the presentation material, and also Genius teaching materials that you can use for your purposes. And if you already are a coach or trainer, of course, you learn how to integrate the Genius Report into your work as a coach or trainer. And there is an optional add-on. If you want to become a certified Genius coach, you can take a certification session with Anka and get a certified Genius Report coach. But you don't have to get this certification in order to work with the Genius Report. It's not required. It's optional. And then you also get listed on the Genius Report website as a coach if you took this certification session. If you're ready, we have a little workbook for you.
Workbook. That's the right word. Workbook.
Yeah, if you're ready to work. So it's called Unfolding Your Genius and Living Joyfully. And what's inside of this workbook? it wants to provoke you a little bit to think about your, Olivia writes, ready. That's good. It wants to provoke you a little bit to think about your own fears and to think about what is holding you back, expectations, norms you want to fit in, things like that. So in the first session of the Genius Report training, you're getting this workbook. And this also helps you, of course, to provoke your clients if you're working with the Genius Report.
Exactly. It could also, it's a subtitle, Free Yourself.
Yes. Any questions on the training? We are here to answer questions if you have any.
And if they pop up later on, feel free to post another video on Facebook. We'll definitely come back to it and get back to it and answer your questions.
Of course.
Later.
And also in the video description, because this video will stay on Facebook, we will put the links to the trainings and everything.
No, Olivia, you don't.
Olivia writes she doesn't need gate 39 to provoke. No.
You get the workbook.
There are a lot of ways to provoke people. The thing is provoking for the better, you know? This is, yeah. Now I lost my thought. Where were I?
About the video where you post it.
Yeah. The links to our trainings and the material. And yes, if you have questions, please let us know. Our trainings are starting regularly, right? So next one next week, but there will be more coming up. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And I have a tip for you at the end of this live stream, a recommendation. It's a song. It's from Adele, of course, from her last album. And I heard it for the first time today, and it's really a nice song. It's called I Drink Wine. And here she is singing about stop trying to be somebody else. I just want you the way you are. And it's quite a nice song, I think. So if you would like to enjoy this song, I recommend it. I Drink Wine from Adele.
Thank you, everybody, for watching, and enjoy the rest of the day, the evening, wherever you are. We don't know. But for us here in Austria, it's evening, so we are going to enjoy a glass of wine and say goodbye.
Thank you, Anke, for these
Thank you, Nicole.
closing words. See you soon, maybe. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.